Hi, it's Ted Powers with Paragon Global Consulting. Some time ago, we talked with you about the Amazon effect and its impact on the U.S. containerboard industry. And today, I'd like to revisit that topic, but I'd like to add a new wrinkle to it. I'd like to introduce the impact that COVID-19 has had on the Amazon effect and how these two forces together are shaping the U.S. containerboard business. Now, we know that historically, demand from e-commerce channels has been a faster growing segment than growth in containerboard from traditional channels. In fact, if we lay a couple of trend lines over that, that becomes very clear. We see how much steeper the trend line is in the growth of containerboard coming through e-commerce than that of containerboard coming through traditional channels. But we noticed something starting to happen in mid 2019, and that was this line started to flatten. The use of corrugated in e-commerce came below its trend line. It flattened out. Well, why is that? Well, a question that's worth asking is, were we seeing the beginning of a trend in a decline in the intensity in the use of containerboard through e-commerce channels? Now, we know that that's true in some sense because we know that e-commerce retailers are trying to find ways to replace corrugated boxes or corrugated usage through right sizing of packaging and through the substitution of things like plastic bags. Then along came COVID-19 and things changed once again. With the outbreak of COVID-19, what we see is that demand for corrugated generated through traditional channels just plummeted, fell off a cliff. At the same time, demand for corrugated generated through e-commerce channels spiked up considerably. And of course, this just makes sense. People weren't leaving their house to buy things through traditional channels. They were instead turning even in greater numbers to e-commerce channels and ordering things and having them delivered to their homes. So that's not surprising. But the question remains is, what happens after the COVID-19 pandemic is resolved? Will we return to this flattening of a curve? Are consumer habits changed forever in that we'll continue with this steepness of the curve? Will people continue just to buy things online and abandon traditional channels? This is something that containerboard producers really need to understand, because if we go back to a flattening or even a decline in the rate of intensity and use of containerboard in e-commerce, that could be a very troubling development for containerboard producers. So if you have questions about this or anything else, we'd love to talk with you. Feel free to reach out, shoot us an email, give me a call. Would love to hear from you. Happy to talk with you. Thanks for your attention and have a great day.